Today I'm going to be swapping over some parts from my HM7, also known as the Honda Vamos, which is the newer generation style of the Acty truck, but the more comfort-driven one. If you don't know, Actys come in an Acty truck and an Acty van. The Acty van obviously is a closed van, but it's the same thing underneath it, you know, the mid-engine, you know, rear-wheel drive. The Vamos is a more comfort-driven vehicle, so it has like softer seats, more padding, headrest for the back passengers, headrest for the front passengers, and a few other creature comforts that you just don't get in the Hobio, which is what they call the Acty van in the newer generation. So I have Vamos, we're getting rid of it, so I'm taking some of the more expensive parts I have off of it, like my really nice wheel, and we're gonna put it in this car. Now my Vamos is like significantly nicer. I added a bunch of like foam padding on the inside, sound deadening, painted, reupholstered the inside, a few other different things like that. And a lot of you would wonder, why would I get rid of that in order to drive this? Well, if you didn't notice, my garage is low. So I can't fit in here because it has a higher ceiling. So it actually sticks up to like right here when you try to drive it in. And then I have a roof box on the top of it. So it's actually like this tall. So there's no chance it would ever fit in here. And for me, that's a big deal, not being able to fit my car in my garage to work on it. And I don't have like a front driveway. This goes directly into the street. With that being said, my friend is in kind of need of a car, something that's really reliable and something that can fit his family in it. So it works out perfect. I'm gonna be able to sell him the car really cheap, and he's gonna get a very, very reliable, well-maintained Honda Vamos. And in exchange, I'm gonna get some free space in order to park this car in one of my other spots. And it gives me a spot to maybe get another car. So let's go grab that car, bring it out front, so that way we can swap the wheel. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. Sometimes I find myself thinking that Japan doesn't have a lot of differences from the States, but when it comes to car ownership and parking and situations like that, like for example, you're kind of limited to the space you have for cars. Illegally parking isn't really a thing, as you can see walking down the street. No one street parks. You can street park for a little bit, maybe you have a friend over or something like that in a more residential neighborhood like this, but it's not something you can do regularly like you would be able to do in the States. Another thing is that every car you have needs a garage certificate. It means you have a spot dedicated explicitly to your car. It says that, hey, these, 3 square meters are my space for my car, registered to my space. Now, when you sell the car, the next person to register needs the same exact certificate. So it makes it a little bit difficult for you to own multiple cars without having to rent multiple spots. And even then, let's say you can rent a spot from someone. If they don't own the property or don't want to give you that certificate saying, hey, this chunk of land belongs to my car, then you would never be able to register your car there. Not that you wouldn't be able to park there, you just wouldn't be able to register a car to that location. There's also stupid limitations, like you have to be within 2.5 kilometers, I think, of your exact car's location from your house. So it's not like I can rent a car location like 45 minutes away, because I'm like, hey, I don't drive this car that much and I just want my big van out there. You have to have it, say, 2.5 kilometers away. So when I was in Tokyo, you would have to register it like in Shinjuku, which would cost a fortune. Out here, it's not so much of a big deal. I've got a couple parking spots. They cost me like $40 a month, upwards of like $100 for my like really big one for my van. So it's nice, don't have to worry about it as much, but it's definitely something that you have to think about whenever you're buying a car. The angle approach to my car is wild, but here she blows. This is my, I don't even know what year it is, but my Honda Vamos. Pretty clean, got big old nice tint on the back, like that roof rack I'm talking about. Like I said, this is my eye level. It is a very tall car with that roof rack, but it's super useful. Got some nice work wheels on it, but other than that, it's a really good car, and I've had it for a while now, and it's never once ever had a single issue, as long as I've owned it, which is great. That's what the ETC readers sound like if you put a real ETC in it. Obviously I have a real one, there's the light right there. But yeah, this car works great. I've got a bunch of mods done to it. I got floor mats and CarPlay radio and a subwoofer underneath here and lights underneath, like right through there. A steering wheel that's worth more than the car, a fiber spoke steering wheel. And then, like I said, it's a big van. Those seats go completely flat to have a completely flat bed style rear. But yeah, let's get this off and then put the stock wheel back on for my buddy. Also, another thing to note compared to the last generation Acty, this actually has airbags. The normal Acty doesn't have passenger or driver airbags. This has both, but it doesn't have any type of rear airbags, just the 2 front ones. I just took the horn button off. This is probably my favorite part about the car, and it's definitely coming to the new car. This is a horn button, obviously. This is a really, really famous style horn button here. You'll see these at like custom shops, and you may have seen them online. It's like a clear cover, an acrylic cover, and then you put a picture, and even says like here, like put a picture of your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a picture of your favorite like pet. You can put that in there, and then like it just covers, and then you got a nice cool horn button. And people put all kinds of nice ones in there, but Alexis bought me one like this, and I guess she got it from Temu, and this is a gel sticker on the top that just says that, like this super famous saying. It's not even like an actual acrylic in front of it. This had to cost more to make like this than it would have to just make the acrylic one. Like, and everything else works, which is why I like it so much, but it's just so funny to me. They put a gel sticker on the top of this that just says that saying on it, like the branding from the real horn button. Nothing crazy here. It's a 14. We're gonna impact this out real quick with this, so get this wheel off it. Like I said, this is the clock spring. You're familiar with it. The other car has a little bit different clock spring, but yeah, we'll just put the stock wheel back on. It's just, like I said, one nut. Oh, I do need to unplug the battery first because we're gonna be putting the airbag back on. It's funny to see, obviously, yeah, no motor in the front here. This is just radiator, coolant, batteries underneath here, your fuse brick, and then your water pump. No motor here though, it's all in the back. Mid-engine Honda. I would show the process of putting this back on, but it's not exactly rocket science. You pull the cables through the middle, and then there's that two little fins you saw from the clock spring. They need to go in these two little holes, and that's it. That's literally the entire process. Underneath here, you'll see two pins. You'll see one right here, top left. That's for the horn button. Then the yellow one's obviously for your airbag, same in the US. Then you'll see the black one here. It's a one cable with 3 grounds, and then the 2 pin here, and that goes into here. This is the exact same on the Acty. These are the same steering wheels, so this is how it would look on the Acty, and this is how it looks on the Vamos. They're the same ones. I think the Acty has a little bit different bottom part right here, but the rest of it's all the exact same. Also, never plug in an airbag when it's facing towards you or with the battery on. These are kind of obvious things, but it's a lesson learned the hard way if you do make a mistake. Always just trying to stand at least out of the way. Outside the car, if you're plugging in an airbag, never face it towards your face or your lap. Any of the above, don't get in the car the first time you start it either. Just go off to the side, you know, be outside the car, try and start it, make sure the airbag doesn't go off. These are all lessons you might learn a hard way. It's never happened to me. I've never known someone it's happened to. I will always take that 1 extra second of risk prevention though, and just be outside the car when I plug this in. The steering wheel just kind of clicks back in. You kind of have to press hard on the horn because there's 2 little plastic prongs on the bottom of here. But then you have to put 2 little Torx bits, 1 on each side. These are just tamper resistant kind of thing, but they're just Torx bits. I'll put the bolt size here as well, but yeah, once you do that, the car is ready to go. Plug it back in. And just like that. Already started it once, of course, but works no problem. I would honk my horn. I already did once on accident, so I know it works, but don't want to honk in front of my neighbors. Yeah, turns out I did actually have a boss kit before, so I'll share the part number here. I think it's all covered up, but yeah, this works on all the Vamoses, I think, and a few other different cars, but I'll share that in here. I've actually completed the modification for this as well, where I've glued in the clock spring, so that way it works without having to go all the way in, so that way it's just better. It's a mod that I found on YouTube from someone else here, so it's a really nice kit. It worked really, really well, and I had no problems with it the entire time I owned it. I also had the airbag defeat. I bought the right kit for that, so that way you have the right resistor, so that way it automatically defeats the airbag signal, and then as well as the horn button attachment to make a horn button work. So the next one now is to replace this junk wheel. Actually, it's a really cool wheel, but I like my other one better, so let's put that in. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the process to remove this wheel, but I'll kind of walk you through it. It's pretty easy. You need to take this off first, but in order to take this off, you need to take off this plastic shroud that's underneath it. It's not too difficult. I'll grab a light. It's not too difficult. There's a rubber O-ring. I don't know if you can see it in there. Yeah, right there. There's a rubber O-ring that kind of holds these two together. It's kind of like a metal-y type, I don't know, ring. But you need to pop that off, so we're going to use the pick tool to pop that off. And then you then can unscrew the bolts here, and then that'll give you access to unscrew the 4 bolts that are behind here. The horn thing will come off. It's 1 bolt, goes back on the other way, and it's that easy. Well, like I said, we're gonna take off this little O-ring and push it forward. Like that. Already came off. Like, just use the pick tool, just went underneath it, popped it right off. Now we're gonna take a screwdriver and get all these bolts out from underneath it. Boom, there we go. It's very, very dirty, and there's glass in it. Hold on. I've literally been hearing rattling, and I thought it was something. There's glass in it, broken glass. So there's so much broken glass. Yeah, there's a bunch of broken glass in there, but yeah, just be careful. There's a ton of glass now in here that I'm gonna have to pick out. I have no idea what happened, but yep, we'll clean this up the right way. We'll unbolt these 4 screws and then pop this out. The horn spring broke. Like it cracked. I heard it crack in there. And the horn just kept going off unless I held it in a very particular way. The horn was going off for like 35 seconds. Alexis did not come down. So she thought it was outside. Good to know. Panic in case I'm underneath or somehow dying. Don't honk the horn. But we had to unplug the battery. I probably should have done that to begin with. I was being a bit lazy. But
I'll learn that for next time.
Good to know for next time. But yeah, the horn spring broke, so we'll fix that now. Now that I have that off, the top right one right here, the spring broke, so it was like staying in contact permanently against the grounding. It's very funny. It was very much scared me though at this time. That's what you get for cutting corners. Don't cut corners. This had no airbag though, that's why I was trying to cut a corner. Then no different than your lug nut. This is gonna be a 19 mil. We're just gonna impact this out. And I've noticed on every single Acty that I've ever done, I've never needed to hammer this off. Yeah, it's already wiggling. I haven't touched it, haven't hammered anything. I've always just been able to pull these off, and I have no idea why. It's the only car that I've never had to put like force into it. We are using that Boss kit again. So the Boss kit has that big flat plate that attaches and goes right to this little metal contact right here. And then the horn just goes directly into this. It's powered all through one. And then you just line up these 2 little dimples with the 2 little clock spring things that are right there, and you're good to go. That's all you gotta do. You also need to make note that the top goes to the top. Now, you'll notice there's 2 different bolts. One's a little bit bigger. It's the 2 different bolt patterns. I forget what they're called. I know what they're called generally. It's like Nardo and Sparco style bolt pattern, or Momo style. So you just need to make sure that you put the one on the top that belongs to your car, or else your wheel is going to be off-centered. So just take a moment to do that. You can move the clock spring a little bit sometimes to adjust, but when they're spline driven like this, you can kind of move them like a tooth over. Now the negative to doing it like this slightly offset way is sometimes one of your turn directions will be harder to cancel, or you may need to manually cancel it. So for this way, because we went over to the right, it'll take more to cancel a right. Sometimes you'll have to like Mickey Footy it, go a little bit more to the right or to the left. Now we'll just give this 3 ooga doogas to get it back on again. And once you're kind of sure, pop that ring back around it, click these things back in, and then just screw it back up. It's that easy. See, and just like that, we got all of our seam lines back up, all the bolts are tight, everything's good to go. Probably will go on a test drive to see if we need to move this over 1 tooth or not. Like I said, with having to put on the opposite alignment bolts, it's kind of annoying, so it might be 1 or 2 teeth off because we didn't go exactly parallel. The diameter distance between these 2 is crazy, but that wheel fits on the inside here. It'll probably make it a little bit harder to steer because we don't have power steering, but if I don't like it, I'll just change it. Like I said, it takes a few minutes. I'm not really like panicked about it. If you know Ball, you already know what this is. This is a fiber spoke wheel. It's probably worth more than the car is, to be honest, but they're great, fantastic wheels. They're made in America. The guy who makes them is fantastic as well. This is like my 3rd fiber spoke wheel, so I can't really get enough of them. I love them a lot. They're all handmade as well. Like I said, that carbon fiber is all, one piece. It is phenomenally strong, phenomenally light, and if you like smaller wheels that are, not fabric coated as well as knurled, or however you want them, they do make the best wheels in the market for that. And I did remember to hook my battery back up. Yeah, I was right. I was off by 1 tooth. So I had to move it over to the tooth 1 to the right. Now it's like perfect. It won't ever be like dead on center. It sits about like right here, I would say, like 1-2 degrees off to the right, because I don't have that adapter, which means I'll be in between teeth all the time. So I'm probably just gonna buy the adapter whenever I see one. It doesn't bother me enough right now to, I would say swapping all this out, putting this in, putting it all back together, took maybe 25 minutes total. It's not a hard job, it's not a long job. It's a lot easier on these older cars than it is on newer cars. You don't have to plastic weld anything together. I've had to do all these different things on Type Rs and all that kind of stuff where you have to like solder connections in and figure out the resistors because no one's done it before or no one's done it the proper way. I really like when things work. So for me, it's worth spending the time. But when you're working on this old stuff with no airbags or nothing like that, it just works. It's so easy. It's so nice. Like I said earlier, this was going to be an easy one. Like I said earlier, this is going to be an easy one. It was quick. Those older Actys are really good cars. When they are legal in the US, which I think they're gonna be starting pretty soon, I think they started in 2003 or something, they're fantastic cars. I cannot recommend them enough. I have never had an issue on mine in like 30,000 kilometers. I bought it with a bunch of kilometers on it and still have never had a problem. Highly recommend them. They are much more comfortable with having that hood in the front so you can have more space. It makes them way more comfortable to drive than these. The only trade-off is, of course, the interior space. I could have bought a newer Edge Honda Acty. I'm not obviously restricted by the 25-year law, but I got this thing for so cheap that I couldn't really pass it up. And this isn't my daily car. Well, at least it won't be soon. This is not my daily. So for me, comfort is not the most important thing. I needed something that was utility, could take the bikes, could take camping gear, all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna be in the car for 10 hours a day. The longest I'll ever be in this car in one stint is like 4 hours. I think the next thing we're gonna do on this car is put the subwoofer in, as well as the speakers. I have a 3D printed kit to allow 6.5-inch speakers, which is going to be a massive upgrade. These are the stock paper ones, except there's 2 of them in this one. I don't know if someone put them in or it came that way, but it's got 2, so we're gonna upgrade those and then put in the subwoofer, which is gonna be a huge increase. And then there's just some general maintenance stuff that we have to do next. I want to replace the shifter bushings, as well as, get some different fluids put in here, probably new trans fluid, new diff fluid, new coolant, all that kind of stuff before it becomes summertime because it is hot in Japan in the summer. Cool, thank you for watching again, and I hope you watch the next video as well.